The story begins with a girl laughing at the MC, asking him to show everyone how pathetic he looks when frustrated. She tells him to entertain her. She adds that just being childhood friends with him is already bad enough. At that moment, he felt like something inside him had snapped. Rua Takeshiki is not just a normal girl. She's a super popular idol and the granddaughter of Taizo Takeshiki, chairman of the massive Tikai Group, a huge corporation that holds control over Japan. Her wealth and power are on a completely different level from ordinary people, making her seem like a picture-perfect princess. In contrast, the boy's name is Kazuma Suzuki, a gloomy and plain guy with no girlfriend or even friends in general. He's basically the poster child for a social outcast. If he has any distinguishing feature, it's being the childhood friend of the great Rua Takeshiki, and that's about it. That's why he's always lived under Rua's shadow. But he doesn't wish to be special like her. He just wants to be normal, have friends, and maybe even get a girlfriend. He once told Rua about it, and her response was, she asked if he was stupid, saying that a social outcast like him should know his place. She added that his only value was being the childhood friend of the great Rua, and that had already used up all his life's good fortune. She made sure he understood his place. Rua told him again to stay in his lane and even added that his face should know its limits based on his birth. The words Rua had spoken to him since childhood weighed down on him like a curse. But still, yearning for normality, he welcomed the spring of his first year of high school. While reading a novel, his phone suddenly beeped with a notification. He checked it and saw a message from Rua, telling him to come to the station at 3 today because she was going to karaoke with Ayacha and the others. He then thought of Ayacha, a flashy gyro girl he had never even spoken to. Rua continued messaging him, reminding him that he had said he wanted friends and a girlfriend. She added that the best thing he could do was join the elite group and that he needed to take a step forward if he wanted to change. Kazuma thought this was his chance. He wanted to change, so he dressed up as best he could. He even gathered the courage to visit a hair salon. At the karaoke, he opened the door, ready to reveal a new version of himself. As he entered, the room was filled with Rua's friends, and everyone immediately started laughing and pointing at him. They questioned how he actually showed up, called him gross, and mocked him for even getting a haircut. The girls kept chattering, saying there was no way and that they could even smell the salon on him. Rua then told her friends not to laugh, saying that he had tried his hardest to look good. She also laughed after that. Kazuma realized what this whole event was really about. Rua walked closer to him and asked why he was just standing there. She told him to cry for her and bet 10,000 yen that he would start bawling. Kazuma then asked if he had done something so bad that he deserved this kind of treatment. He asked again if he had done anything. Rua responded that it was obvious. She pointed at him and exclaimed that it was because he was her slave and that he should show her how pathetic he looked when frustrated. She ordered him to entertain her. With an evil smile, she added that just having someone like him as her childhood friend was already awful enough. Just like that, Kazuma felt something inside him snap. He realized that it was actually the sound of their bond breaking. He suddenly agreed with her, saying he felt the same way. He told her they should end their friendship right there and then. Rua was left stunned by his response. She started yelling, asking what he was saying and questioning who he thought he was. He responded by asking if she hadn't just said she hated him. She shouted back, telling him not to be ridiculous and calling him an idiot. She added that he had no right, that she could hate him all she wanted, but he wasn't allowed to hate her back. Kazuma realized that this was the true peak of Japanism. To think someone like this girl was at the top of idol popularity. What a world we live in. He suddenly slammed the table and walked out. Before leaving, he reminded her that he meant every word he said. Rua was left speechless. One of her friends called Kazuma's action lame and said he should stop acting cool. Another friend told Rua she didn't need to care about Kazuma. Ayacha suddenly spotted something at the table. There were now cracks in it and she asked if it was broken. Rua's friends started questioning whether having powers was possible. Another friend disagreed, saying it was already broken and that no one could break a table with their bare hands unless they weren't human. Another friend agreed. Rua is left shivering, and her friend asks if what's being said is true, but she doesn't respond. Rua then shouts that she'll never forgive Kazuma for ending their friendship. Kazuma feels free now. He strangely feels refreshed, and the scenery looks brighter than usual. He starts questioning why he had been taking orders from someone like Rua all this time. Now, he feels he'd rather spend his high school life alone than bow before that beast in human clothing. He realizes that from now on, he doesn't need to live as her shadow anymore. He is now free. That night, the chairman of the Tikai Group and the headmaster of Tikai Academy, Takeshiki Taizo, is seen reading papers. Rua's cousin, Takeshiki Sakura, appears to be speaking with him. Suddenly, Rua comes up to him, calling him grandfather, and he is excited to see her. She walks up while complaining that Kazuma was so mean to her today and that he told her he wanted to end their friendship. Sakura then asks Rua if that's true and adds that maybe Kazuma was just bored. Rua's anger continues to fume as she calls Kazuma a jerk and says he had never stood up to her before. Sakura looks at Rua after hearing her call Kazuma a jerk and suddenly asks if Rua might have said something terrible to him. Rua quickly denies it, saying it's not true. She adds that it's not like she only said things like, because he's a slave, or having him as her childhood friend is awful enough. She says that's all she said. Sakura responds that it's quite a terrible thing to say to someone. Her grandfather agrees, saying it's natural for Kazuma to be angry after hearing that. Rua is surprised her grandfather took Kazuma's side. She quickly denies any serious intent, claiming she was just teasing him a little. She explains that as soon as Kazuma started high school, he suddenly began talking about wanting friends and a girlfriend. She asks if that isn't strange. With rage, she shouts that it isn't normal. She adds that Kazuma has her, the world's cutest Princess Rua, always by his side, yet he wants to be close with other people, especially other girls. She finds that ridiculous. She says that's why she was just a little bit mean. She argues that a little teasing never hurt anyone. She adds that no one else in this world understands him more than she does, and that she loves him. Her grandfather suddenly agrees, saying she's right and that Kazuma is wrong. Sakura watches the doting side of him emerge. Sakura then comments that if Rua wants to make up, she should be the one to. Before she can finish, Rua exclaims that there's no way she'll do it. Rua then asks Sakura if she's Kazuma's mentor, suggesting that she should fix the situation somehow and make Kazuma apologize to her, the cute Rua-chan, and even make him say he loves her and kiss her. Sakura smiles and mentions that a kiss might be too much. She then asks Rua's grandfather if he plans to make Kazuma Rua's husband. He agrees, saying that's why he assigned Sakura as Kazuma's mentor to teach him combat techniques and leadership skills. He adds that Rua likes Kazuma and that someone with Kazuma's talent is rare. Sakura agrees with Kazuma's talent, saying she has never seen anyone like him. She explains that since elementary school, Kazuma's grades had always been straight threes. He deliberately got average scores to blend in with those around him. It was also he could stay in Rua's shadow. If he ever got serious, he wouldn't just get straight fives. The entire Japan and maybe even the whole world would be in an uproar. She adds that he was incredibly popular with girls, and she even had to transfer countless girls who fell for him. Yet because of that, Kazuma has no awareness of how popular he actually is. Hearing this boosts Rua's ego, and she confidently says that it's because he belongs to her. The grandfather agrees and adds that it makes him worthy to be the heir of the Tikai group. Sakura remains silent, thinking about how now that Kazuma has ended his friendship with Rua-chan, he no longer needs to suppress his abilities. In sports, academics, and even romance, things might get very complicated. The next morning, there's a lot of chatter in the hallway about how someone named Suzuki Kazuma tried to defy Princess Rua. As Kazuma walks his way to class, he notices a desk and chair that has a piece of paper taped to them that says, "No seat for you, lol." Kazuma realizes how things are now. He had a vague idea before, but now he knows for sure. His childhood friend, the girl, the super-rich heiress and popular idol, is the worst kind of person there is. Now then, in this situation, there are usually two options. Return the desk and chair to their proper positions and attend class without making a fuss. Most students would usually choose this option when facing this kind of treatment. Go to the staff room, but that's not an option for him. This is because this is Tikai Academy. Tikai Academy's mission is to cultivate S-Class talent and make Tikai the best in the world. It's known to the public as the S-Class Academy. Studies, sports, entertainment, top performers in each field receive tuition and dormitory waivers, attracting elite scholarship students from across the nation. Those with outstanding talents are considered upper class. The rest, the ordinary students, are lower class. The caste system sometimes subtly, sometimes blatantly controls the school. The most famous and influential person in Tikai is this girl, Princess Rua Takeshiki Rua. Plus, the headmaster is her grandfather. So, of course, the bald homeroom teacher is sweet on Rua. If Kazuma brought complaints to the staff room, the outcome would be crystal clear. So he chooses option 1. Return the desk and chairs to their proper positions and attend class without making a fuss. Or not. Since he had already made up his mind to live alone, there was a third option. He takes out his pen and writes, "Since that's the case, I will study by myself. It's an order from Takeshiki-san. So please attend accordingly." Suzuki Kazuma. The students are left questioning if he can really do that and if he doesn't fear Princess Rua. Without another word, Kazuma walks away. Feeling it would be troublesome if someone found him, Kazuma decides to go somewhere out of sight. He soon finds a quiet place and thinks of getting inside. It's the underground library, a place most students and even teachers probably don't know about. Only a bookworm like him would have heard of it from a senior in the library committee. It's the perfect secret place for now. Kazuma just wants to live a normal life. Since he defied Rua, making friends or getting a girlfriend is probably impossible. If that's the case, he wants her to at least let him live peacefully by himself. As he opens another door, he finds a girl about to change her clothes. She gets freaked out. At that moment, he had no idea that his attempt to live a peaceful life would begin with girls who are anything but, and that his days could never again be called quiet. Meanwhile, Rua is waiting in class, expecting Kazuma to come and apologize soon. On YouTube, Rua greets her audience, saying she's everyone's idol Rua Heim, also known as Takeshiki Rua. She has 1 million subscribers. She talks about today's topic, things that totally ticked me off recently. She explains that the other day, she went to karaoke with some girls from her class. Obviously only girls, because as she claims, boys are scary to her. She complains that one of the boys was a total buzzkill, just sitting there all grumpy. Halfway through, he even said he was going home, which killed the vibe. Rua tells her supporters that if the party's popping, No one should be the one to ruin it. One for all and all for one, she says. That's how it should work. She then shares some good news, mentioning that she has a new gig. Rua announces that she's teaming up with a brand new voice actress, Minato Amain-chan, to form a unit and release a CD. She adds that Amain-chan is in the same agency and the same school as her, and she's so happy about it. Rua explains that the debut event will be next Sunday at Shine Mall, and that it's totally free to attend. She asks everyone to come. She then says goodbye. The video soon fills with comments. There's always that one person who just can't read the room. I'll beat the one who embarrassed Rua. Congrats on forming the unit. They shouldn't pair Rua with someone who drags her down. The agency should treasure her more. Who's Minato Amain? I googled it and found nothing. Supporting you forever, Rua. Meanwhile, back in the underground library, Kazuma apologizes to the girl and introduces himself as Kazuma from class 1 to 3. She introduces herself back, saying she's a main Minato from class 3, and apologizes for raising her voice earlier. Kazuma takes the blame for not checking properly before entering. He asks if she also heard about the place from the library committee senpai. Minato agrees. Kazuma realizes he wasn't the only one told about this secret place. As she fixes her shorts, and Minato tells him she's fine now, she apologizes for keeping him waiting. Kazuma doesn't say anything for a moment, then asks her why she's in gym clothes and, more importantly, why she's changing in the library in the first place. Minato hurriedly explains that she was looking for a place to practice singing and dancing, and remembered the underground library someone once showed her. She quickly adds that she's an actual voice actress and has an upcoming unit live event. Kazuma responds, saying she's from the entertainment world, just like his childhood friend. Several entertainers attend Tikai Academy, students especially selected because the school has high hopes for them. He also notices that she even brought a full-length mirror, which shows how dedicated she is. He then asks her about her class. Minato mumbles and says that when she arrived at school this morning, her desk and chair had been moved into the hallway. There was a sign that read, "No seat for you." Kazuma realizes that he's heard something similar before. He also notices that's probably why she had tears in her eyes a moment ago. Suddenly, his phone lights up with a notification. He checks and sees a series of messages from Rua. She's asking where he is and if he isn't late. She asks if he saw her video from yesterday and how everyone is saying he's a jerk. Rua continues, asking what she should do next. Maybe leak his name in her next video so her fans could swarm him. She tells him to come drag his pitiful desk into the classroom. She also tells him that if he kneels on the ground and begs, she might forgive him. Without hesitation, Kazuma clicks the block button. Rua is now blocked. Kazuma then asks Minato why she's going through something like that and if she isn't a special scholarship student. She quickly denies it, saying it's not true. She explains that even though she's a voice actress, she's not popular at all, and both her face and her voice are like that too. Kazuma responds by saying he can't see her face well because of her bangs. He adds that her voice sounds pretty cute, like the sound of a bell rolling, and thinks it's a pleasantly memorable voice. Minato is suddenly flattered by his words. She turns away, denying that it's cute, and says there are many people with better voices in the idol and voice actress world. Compared to someone like Rua Takayashiki, she feels like she's nothing. She adds that even so, someone like her still ended up forming a unit with Rua-san, which is probably why she got bullied like that. She continues, mentioning that even yesterday on her social media, she got a ton of comments saying that if she teamed up with Rua-heim, Rua's status would drop. Kazuma can't help but think about how awful Rua's fans are, guessing pigs really attract pigs. He suddenly asks Minato why she ended up teaming up with that pig, referring to Rua. Minato is surprised by Kazuma's words. She questions what he means by pig, and he quickly apologizes, realizing he said it out loud. He clarifies that he meant Takayashiki Rua. She quickly moves closer, warning him about what could happen if someone overheard him bad-mouthing Rua at school. Kazuma replies that no one is around. She agrees and starts reasoning. She explains that it was the agency's decision. Since Rua and her are in the same agency, they thought pairing her, someone plain and gloomy, would make Rua stand out more. Kazuma thinks it's a harsh way to put it. He wonders if it's Tikai Music, the same agency connected to the massive Tikai group. He has no doubt that even the desk and chair incident was Rua's idea. Even if it was the agency's plan, Rua probably just couldn't stand being paired with someone beneath her. Just as he's thinking this, Minato suddenly says she's okay being background support. She adds that it's a rare opportunity she's been given, and at the very least, she doesn't want to drag anyone down. She says she wants to give it everything she's got. Kazuma asks her if that's the reason she came to practice, and she agrees. He smiles and says that's pretty cool of her. Seeing his reaction, she looks at him as he calls her name. He then offers to keep her company during her practice, mentioning that all he can really do is give feedback from a total amateur's perspective. He holds out his hand, asking if that's okay with her. Minato takes his hand with a big smile and says she'll be counting on him. At that moment, Kazuma notices something. Up close, he realizes that Minato is way cuter than that pig Rua. At lunch break, Kazuma walks through the hallway, thinking about how Minato-san has been practicing non-stop since morning. Worried she might get dehydrated, he bought 2 bottles. Suddenly, someone shouts his name. It's Rua. She asks where he's been and what he thinks he's doing skipping class. Kazuma is completely unfazed now. Rua continues, demanding to know why he's ignoring her and how he even blocked her on Messenger. She reminds him that no one is allowed to ignore her. Then she embarrasses herself, suggesting that maybe it's because her face is so beautiful that he can't look directly at her. She asks if he's embarrassed or something. One of her followers suddenly comes up from behind, questioning Kazuma about why he's giving Rua the silent treatment and saying it's rude. This puppet's name is Asano, the baseball club's promising scholarship student. Kazuma wonders if this puppet has nothing better to do than follow Rua around. If he has time to waste like that, he should try following Minato-san's example instead. Asano gets angrier as Kazuma stays silent, accusing him of mocking him with his expression. Asano gets ready to punch him, demanding that he say something. As he throws the punch, it goes straight through Kazuma, and Asano is left wondering if he really punched him because he didn't feel anything at all. Kazuma is now behind Asano. Asano looks back, shocked, wondering when Kazuma moved. Other students start chattering, questioning if Asano really missed and calling him lame. Some even start wondering if Asano is weak. Kazuma then calmly asks Asano if something is wrong, suggesting he might be out of shape. Asano, furious, gets ready to throw another punch, but Rua stops him. He looks at her, surprised. Rua reminds him that the only one allowed to seriously mess with Kazuma is her. She says Asano can only lay a hand on him if she explicitly orders it and that he should know his place. Completely confused, Asano agrees. Kazuma then calls out to Rua. Her face lights up, asking what he wants. He then asks if she thought that was cool or something. She's obviously caught off guard. Before she can respond, Kazuma calmly tells her to listen closely. There's absolutely no one allowed to mess with him or bully him. He lifts his head and looks at her, telling her that he doesn't care who she is. As he walks away, he simply tells her to leave him alone. Rua falls to her knees, defeated. Other students rush to help her, asking if she's okay, and another questions what Kazuma's problem is. But Rua, sitting there, finds herself thinking that what he just did was really cool. 1 week later, Minato is practicing her dancing when she suddenly trips and falls. Kazuma quickly catches her and asks if she's okay. She apologizes again, saying it happens every time. Kazuma tells her not to worry about it. He wouldn't want her getting hurt before the real event. Minato then compliments him, saying how amazing he is. No matter where he is, every time she trips, he always somehow catches her. Kazuma simply responds that it's nothing special. Minato then denies it, saying it's not true. She mentions that ever since that day, Kazuma had been watching over her, encouraging her, and that he had no idea how much of a help he had been. She shows her gratitude by thanking him deeply. Kazuma is surprised by her thanks. No one had ever said something like that to him before. He responds, saying he didn't do anything special. He then reminds her that the past just returned to the center stage, and wouldn't it be better to just walk back normally without spinning? He asks her if she always loses her balance there. Minato admits it wouldn't look good on stage if that happened. Kazuma thinks of an idea and suggests she jump back in one move, saying it might even stand out on stage. She immediately tells him it's impossible. The center of the stage is at least 5 meters away. Kazuma then shows her how to use the strength in her knees. He demonstrates the move, and Minato is shocked. Nervously, she says it's impossible for her. She asks him what he just did, saying he bounced like he was on a trampoline or something, and that normal people can't do that. She suddenly asks if his P grades are off the charts or something. Kazuma tells her no, that since elementary school, he had always gotten solid 3s out of 5. Minato looks at him, surprised, and asks what she's seeing exactly. Kazuma comments on her posture, saying it's a bit off. She agrees, admitting she knows and that she's never been able to fix her slouch. The choreography coach even got mad at her for it. Kazuma says nothing for a moment, then suggests she take advantage of that slouch instead. He shows her how to use it naturally in her movements, and she copies what he's doing. He then tells her to keep going straight into Satsuki's dance from there. Minato manages to hit the dance moves while keeping her slouched posture, turning it into part of her style. Kazuma feels proud of his work, and he thinks she looks super cute. Minato then gets exhausted but smiles, commenting that the movements are finally starting to click. Kazuma tells her that's great and even suggests asking the costume designer to make her a set of cat ears and a tail. Minato laughs and agrees but suddenly mentions that she can't really use that idea. Kazuma asks why, and she says that with that kind of look, she wouldn't match well with Rua-san. She explains that her role is to make Rua shine, after all. Kazuma is left speechless, asking her if she's really okay with that. Minato agrees, saying that to begin with, singing while dancing isn't her specialty. She adds that she actually wants Kazuma to watch her practice her acting instead. After all, she's a voice actor. She explains that she wants to perform as an anime character and that's why she's giving her all to the work in front of her now, hoping that even just a little, it will lead to voice acting opportunities. Kazuma responds, saying he understands. In his eyes, Minato is so positive, and when she talks about voice acting, she looks full of life. He can really feel how much she loves her work. He suddenly tells her that he's envious. She's confused, so he explains that it's because he doesn't really have any dreams or goals. Minato then asks if there's nothing he wants to be. Kazuma mentions that he just wants to be ordinary. He says he's fine with not being anything special. He just wants an ordinary life that he can be proud of and say, "That's who I am." Minato smiles and tells him that's fine. She adds that since he's Kazuma, she's sure he can become ordinary, or even become anything he wants. This bright, positive girl suddenly makes him realize something. For the first time, Kazuma smiles and thanks her. Minato notices and suddenly brings up something else she's been wondering. She mentions hearing the rumor about how he got into a fight with Rua. She adds that she thought it might have been because of her. Kazuma tells her it's not the case. Minato quickly asks if Rua isn't his childhood friend, and if Minato being there is putting him in a tough spot. He tells her again that it's not like that. He says Rua is no longer his childhood friend, or anything like that anymore, so he wasn't thinking anything of it. Minato then asks if that's really true. She calls his name and he asks what it is. She moves closer to him and says, if he'd like, would he wanna? Suddenly, the door slams open. It's Rua, and she does not look happy at all. She demands to know what Minato is doing with Kazuma in a place like this. Rua stands there acting like a wife, even though her chances are already long gone. As for Minato, she's stunned and genuinely scared to see Rua. Kazuma, however, doesn't seem fazed at all. Rua had heard that Kazuma was in the hidden library, so she came to check it out. She also wanted to know what was going on. Then, raising her voice, she demanded to know why Kazuma was with Minato, calling her a trash voice actress, and pointing out that she wasn't even the least bit popular. Rua kept going, insulting Minato by calling her worthless, stupid, and an idiot. Minato was clearly shaken by Rua's cruel remarks. Meanwhile, Kazuma wondered if Rua was acting like a kid still stuck in elementary school. Rua carried on, accusing Kazuma of disappearing because he had been meeting with Minato. She questioned why he would go out of his way to spend time with someone so gloomy, unattractive, and hopeless. But just as she kept shouting, her voice broke and tears welled up in her eyes. She admitted she hated seeing the two of them together. She wanted to know why Kazuma wasn't standing beside her instead of Minato, why he was with that trash girl. Then, Minato gently called out to Rua, trying to take the blame. She explained that Kazuma-kun was only trying to help her. With a creepy, intense look, Rua stepped closer and asked if she had really just called him Kazuma-kun. Minato was clearly scared by the look on Rua's face. She quickly switched and called him Suzuki-kun instead. Rua shouted again, mocking her, but accepted the correction and warned Minato to remember her place. She yelled that getting close to Kazuma was a million years too soon and insulted her appearance, calling her a forehead curtain weirdo. Getting even closer, Rua shouted that she bet Minato was ugly underneath those bangs. She reached out, pushed her hair aside, and was taken aback. Minato looked way better than she expected. Surprised, Rua suddenly panicked and asked if Minato had shown her looks to anyone yet. Minato didn't understand what Rua was talking about. Frustrated, Rua pulled out a roll of duct tape and told Minato to wrap her hair up quickly. Kazuma finally stepped in and called out to Rua, telling her to stop. He also asked if she wasn't supposed to be in the same group as Minato and couldn't understand where she even got the duct tape from. Rua brushed it off, saying she was just the support. But Kazuma told her that even that so-called sidekick trains hard every day just to hold her place. He warned Rua not to interfere. Rua was stunned that Kazuma was defending Minato. She quickly asked why he was siding with her and wanted to know why he never took her side, especially since they were childhood friends. Kazuma replied that he supports people who put in real effort. He reminded her that they weren't childhood friends anymore and asked if she had forgotten what he told her before. Rua was shocked he'd say something like that. She asked if he was still upset about what happened the other day and claimed it was just a joke. Kazuma questioned if she really thought it was a joke. He raised his voice, asking how many people she had hurt with those so-called jokes. He reminded her that she was in high school now and should know the difference between what's okay and what's not. He also told her that she was the one who needed to learn her place. With that, Kazuma turned and walked away, leaving Rua frozen in place. As he left, he called Minato to come with him. Rua called after him, shouting that he was an idiot and that she was way cuter than Minato. She insisted there was no way she'd lose to a low-tier voice actress like her. Later, Minato apologized to Kazuma, saying it was her fault Rua got upset. Kazuma reassured her there was no need to say sorry. In fact, she had given him a great idea. Minato looked confused and asked what he meant. He explained that if they could just poke at that oversized pride of Rua's the right way, they could totally throw her off her game. He jokingly called it the Amanian dance operation. Minato didn't get it. Later on, Minato was holding a black cat pin and asked Kazuma what it was. He told her he had just found it nearby. Then he asked if she had a YouTube channel. Minato said yes. Kazuma told her to wear the cat pin and upload the cat dance from yesterday, saying it would definitely grab attention. Minato replied that her channel barely had any subscribers and didn't think it would reach anyone. Kazuma told her he'd help with that part, and with a dance like hers, it was sure to work. He told her to trust him. Minato nodded and said she understood. Kazuma then asked if she had ever considered lifting her bangs. Minato looked confused, so he told her she was actually really cute, and it was a waste to keep hiding her face. Minato explained that she was afraid of people staring at her. She couldn't relax without the safety of her bangs and didn't feel like it was something that needed to be fixed. Kazuma simply replied, "I see," and asked if her agency had ever said anything about it. She answered not really, at least not until the group disbands, and added that the bangs matched the support role image better anyway. He wasn't surprised and commented that Rua should have just gone solo from the beginning. Minato replied that apparently was the plan and that the group only existed for publicity. It would be dissolved after one CD. Kazuma remarked that showbiz was dirty. Minato went on to explain that their agency was basically owned by Rua-san's grandfather. When it came to popularity or looks, she felt completely outmatched. She asked if it was really okay to go up against someone like Rua-san. Kazuma didn't say anything right away. He thought to himself that Minato's lack of confidence was probably because of the environment she grew up in. In this world, people are afraid of losing their spot and always try to crush anything that stands out. There are so many like that. Whether in school or the entertainment world, Minato had always been surrounded by people like that. It was no wonder she lost her confidence. She suddenly called his name and brought up how he was childhood friends with Rua. She asked if Rua liked him a lot and remarked that it was kind of amazing. He responded that it was just annoying. Then, he told Minato she could drop the formality and call him Kazuma instead of Suzuki-kun. Her expression lit up. She replied that she'd call him Kazuma-kun then, and said she'd be happy if he called her a main. He nodded and called her a main-chan. Her face turned bright red and she hid it with her hands. When he asked if something was wrong, she replied that she'd do her best for the video shoot. Now on YouTube, Minato nervously introduced herself, saying she'd be dancing to her original, a Manyan dance. She asked her subscribers to please watch until the end. She then started dancing, clearly enjoying every second of it. After the dance, she explained to her viewers that she would be performing the same song live at an event this Sunday and invited anyone free to come see her. She also asked them to subscribe. Just then, her phone battery died. Watching from his side, Kazuma thought she looked cute. He glanced at the comments and noticed they were from real viewers. Curious, he decided to check Rua's channel as well. Not because he was interested or anything, but purely for information gathering. He clicked on one of her videos and was greeted with Rua screaming like a lunatic, yelling his name and calling him an idiot, stupid, and a crap thrower. She shouted at him for not realizing how amazing she was. Then, without missing a beat, she suddenly switched gears, greeting her viewers as if nothing had just happened. She explained that what they saw was a little thing called emotional expression acting, and asked if they were surprised. She said she had simply channeled some recent frustration into the performance and joked that maybe she should go all in on acting. With a confident smile, she signed off, telling everyone to keep cheering for her and promising to see them again soon. Kazuma was left speechless by what he just saw. After a moment, he accepted it and made up his mind. He was going to crush her without holding back. At that point, Rua's video, as expected from a popular idol, racked up tens of thousands of views. Meanwhile, Amain-chan's video was sitting at just around 50 views. The gap in recognition was painfully obvious. Still, the cuteness of the Nyan dance was the real deal if only people would see it. That became Kazuma's mission, to make it reach them. He immediately started sharing the video, asking people to give it a watch and, if they liked it, to share it. Kazuma was an introvert, plain, quiet, and friendless in real life. But online, things were different. In a certain mobile game, he was even the vice leader of a large clan. He had some reach there. A few days later, Minato's video had reached 500,000 views. She was in shock. She couldn't believe it had gained so many views in just 3 days. She turned to Kazuma and asked what he did. He casually explained that he just helped spread it a bit, but made it clear that if the video itself wasn't great, it wouldn't have gone viral. He said it was all thanks to her talent. She laughed, saying she was happy. She mentioned how someone she didn't even know had told her they were coming to the event. Kazuma told her that was awesome. Rua had been pushing her event hard too, and it looked like a lot of students from Tikai Academy were planning to attend. Now, all that was left was for her to fall into the trap. Suddenly, someone ran up to them. It was Rua, wearing cat ears and shouting that she had arrived. Kazuma was surprised that he'd successfully baited her. Minato, on the other hand, was just confused about the cat ears. Rua wasted no time being rude again. She said she saw Minato's ridiculous video and asked if she really thought she was hot stuff just because she wore cat ears. Rua declared that if they were playing by the same rules, there was no way Minato could win. She kept yelling, saying the Sunday event would now be a cat ear showdown, and that she'd prove to everyone who the real cutest and most popular girl was. Kazuma wasn't surprised. After all, they were childhood friends. He understood how her mind worked. That tiny twitch at the corner of her mouth gave her away. She was trying hard to hide her frustration. Now that everything was set, it was time to begin the rebellion against the top idol. The event day, Kazuma called Amain, who was already dressed up. She greeted him, and he asked if the dressing room wasn't supposed to be in the other direction. Minato agreed, then explained that it was because of Rua. Rua had apparently told her manager she didn't want to breathe the same air as that nobody, meaning Minato, so she got a separate room. Kazuma muttered, calling her a pig. They sat down, and Kazuma mentioned that maybe it was better this way, they wouldn't be interrupted. He reminded her that showtime was coming up and that as long as she did what she needed to, everything would be fine. He told her he had seen her practice every day and that she had improved a lot. He also encouraged her to have confidence. Minato suddenly asked why he was going so far for someone like her. She said she had been wondering about that the whole time. She repeated the question, asking why. Kazuma paused, thought about it, and then said that if someone like her, Someone who wasn't even part of the prestigious school airship program could shine. It might just crack a hole in the wall that the school had built around itself. Minato looked confused and asked if he really meant her. He replied that it could be part of an afterthought. Then he added that, from the start, he simply saw how hard she was trying, and he just wanted to support her. That was all. Her face lit up after hearing those words. Kazuma then pulled something out of his bag. It was a cat ear pin, and he told her he made it for her. Her eyes widened with excitement as she asked if he really did. He nodded and explained that he had been trying to find something that would suit her perfectly, but in the end, he figured it would be faster to just make it himself. She thanked him warmly, saying she was really happy. As she pinned it on, she added that she would do her best. Suddenly, he reached out and touched her hair. She was startled. He gently moved her bangs aside and told her that this was how she should wear it. Then he added that he knew it would look way better on her. Minato instantly panicked, her face turning bright red. Trying to ease the tension, Kazuma shared that he once tried changing his hairstyle too. He said someone had invited him to karaoke, so he gathered some courage and went to a salon. Afterward, he felt like a completely new person, like he had been reborn. He explained that, in light novels, that's usually the part where everyone starts seeing the main character in a different light. But in his case, people just pointed and laughed. He looked at her and told her she was different. With confidence, he said she was someone who could shine. Absolutely, because she had a big dream, and she had worked incredibly hard to chase it. Just then, a knock on the door interrupted the moment. It was the manager, announcing that she was up next. Kazuma turned to her and told her to go out there and steal every last one of that pig-faced idol's fans. She took his hand and agreed with a nod. Minato then rushed out the door, ready for her moment.